Today we continue with our class of Halachos of Brochos, the class number 13, Friday afternoon. Okay. So we start with Sefer Chofetz Chaim. Big topic Tofel is relationships. So it's a different topic, new topic. Page 210. Breaking up harmful friendship. Another form of constructive speech is that which is prevents or breaks up relationship that is harmful to at least one of the partners. It is correct to suggest that someone distance himself from a person or persons who may have negative influence upon him. So a person does not know, and these not good people, basically not Torah observant people. So you can suggest that he should stay away. Right? I did this today, early on today, right? To someone. Similarly, it is proper to inform a parent that someone may be having negative influence on a child. So maybe another child, or maybe not child himself, but if he would go to his friend's house and see like how the things are in the house, he could get the wrong impression, basically. All preconditions must be, of course, be fulfilled, including verification of the facts and constructive intent. Okay, as we said before, all these conditions, so you're not holding grudge against that person. So you're not going to overstate the facts and stuff like that. Okay. If the information is not first-hand, it may be nevertheless be conveyed, provided that it's clearly been represented as a second-hand information. So if it's you were not there, you do not know 100%, but you heard from someone, reliable people, so you must say it explicitly. Don't present it as a fact. With regard to the requirements of accuracy of the information, the Chofetz Chaim suggests that exaggeration may be permissible if there is the only way to convince the person or parent to end that relationship. So I would say it's one of the few examples that we can exaggerate. One of the 7 conditions that we cannot exaggerate. But here to stop this relationship that might be harmful, and like sometimes I would say, like I would tell a person, I try to warn, and I say whatever I said, and that person, so what? Then I explain and say, yeah, that's bad. So and then a person would not get unless you exaggerate. Okay, but you must be careful with the exaggeration. The Chofetz Chaim adds that it is imperative to explain why conveying the information does not constitute speaking lashon hara, right? Especially when speaking to a child. Okay, so of course a child is the lashon hara that does not change. Like you were talking to an adult or child, doesn't make any difference. Okay, so we stop here. We'll continue with our class of Laws of Brochos, and we're on a very interesting topic, which is bread exempts, right? Meaning the bread exempts other foods. So I'm on the page 88 and section D. So it says instances in which this dessert food are not exempt. Are exempt. So before that, we said that they're not exempt. Now we're going to cases where are exempt. Although the fruit and other dessert type foods usually do require a separate bracha, if they're eaten as an integral part of the meal, they do not require separate bracha. Right? The following are cases of the fruit eaten as a part of the meal. Number 1, fruit eaten as the only main course. The only main course. If fruit is served as the only main course, it is considered meal type food and does not require separate bracha. For example, a meal consisting of bread and butter, fruit platter, beverage and dessert. Right? Since the fruit platter is the main course of the meal, we regard the fruit as the meal food, rather than the dessert or snack type food. and no additional bracha is required. So, I mean, I think we spoke about it before. If that's what you have, that's your breakfast. You have blueberries for breakfast, blueberries for breakfast. You have half a bagel, let's say, and coffee. All right, so this blueberry, it's 100%, it's part of your breakfast. Right? Some Rishonim ruled that even when fruit is served as the only main course, a separate bracha is required. However, even according to this view, if one starts eating the fruit with bread, he is not required to make a separate bracha. Okay, so but that's okay. Let's finish to explain. Even if his intention is to subsequently eat the fruit without bread, nevertheless, since the fruit is the only main course, and it was eaten initially with bread, it is considered meal-type food and exempt from birchas HaMotzi. Let me read the last sentence again and we explain. Even if his intention is subsequently eat fruit without bread, so he had the first fruit together with bread. Now, let's say he finished his half a bagel, so now he wants to do only blueberries, right? Nevertheless, since the fruit is the only main course, and it was eaten initially with bread, it is considered meal-type food and is exempt by birchas HaMotzi. Okay, so basically, I'm not sure what is it. I don't see a very big difference between these two opinions, but basically, according to one opinion, I mean it's more straightforward. Meaning what? Meaning that it's his only main course and is included in birchas HaMotzi, right? And second opinion, they said maybe it does not cover by birchas HaMotzi, right? But if he eats together and then whatever left over he eats separately, whatever leftover fruit he eats separately, they said there is no problem. I think the bottom line is the same. Okay, that we can eat fruit with bread and bread would cover. Okay, number 2. Fruit eaten is the only of the fruit eaten as one of the courses. Interesting, right? And fruit is not. If fruit is not eaten as only main course, but rather is one of the other courses of the meal, it is not considered meal-type food and requires its own bracha. So let's see. However, if the fruit is eaten together with bread, a separate bracha is not required. Okay, so it's some. I think there is some what do you call it, like fruit soup. So yeah, go ahead.
Right, so let's say I have an appetizer. Okay, let's have bread. I have an appetizer. Then my main course is fruit. Okay, so and then so basically like that. So I don't make a bracha on the fruit since it's the main course. But
okay, well, start again. What about this appetizer? Why do we need appetizer in this example? Can you explain it?
I'm saying we need an appetizer since it's not the only food. If it was the only food, I understand it's to fill me up. It's 100% part of the Suda. I'm saying over here, it's what's it called? Like there are other courses in the meal. I'm giving you an example with other courses. I'm asking if over here, okay, still it's my main course, but I have other courses. Do the other courses make it not make me have to say a bracha now?
Okay, so that's exactly. I mean, we just started this section, so let's see what he says.
I thought that over here it's talking about something different, where it's just one of the courses and not the main course. I'm asking where it is the main course.
If it's in the main course, that was previous section. It is covered 100%.
But I'm pretty
sure there are 2 opinions. But go ahead, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that previous section was talking about when it's the only thing you're going to eat, not the main course. No.
I mean, was no. Since the fruit is the main course, that's what it says. Actually, even if his intention is subsequent to eat fruit without, I'm on page 90 from the top. Even if his intention is subsequent to eat fruit without bread, nevertheless, since the fruit is his only main course, it was eaten initially with bread. So I mean, this is a little stricter opinion, but even according to this stricter opinion, if he started with bread. So I mean, the main course is that the only food is. I think it's all synonyms. I mean, I think it's the same thing. No?
Understood.
So now we're going to second. I mean, the second question that you ask if there are other courses. So let's do from the beginning, so we don't lose the point. Okay, from the beginning. If fruit is only eaten as the only main course, but if fruit is not eaten, I apologize. If fruit is not eaten as the only main course, so meaning there are other courses, but rather as one of the other courses of the meal, it is not considered a meal type food and require its own bracha. So I mean, maybe some appetizers, maybe between this meat and that meat, they serve a pineapple. I don't know, just saying, right? However, if the fruit is eaten together with bread, separate bracha is not required. Okay, so let's see. Let's continue, and we'll see. There is a dispute among the poskim as to how much of the fruit must be eaten with bread in order to be exempt from birchas HaMotzi. Most poskim rule that since the fruit is being eaten as one of the courses of the meal, it is sufficient to start eating the fruit with the bread and to finish eating the fruit with the bread, even though one does not intend to eat all the fruits with the bread. There is a view, however, that each bite of the fruit must be eaten together with the bread in order to consider the fruit to be exempt with the bread. Okay, so as we can see, all of these situations that they discuss, I would say it's very difficult. Okay, so let's finish and we explain. The poskim advise, therefore, that one should first make the appropriate blessing on a fruit and eat some of the fruit without bread. Afterwards, he may continue to eat the fruit either with or without bread. So I think that's that's the only solution, the last one, because this is the solution that they offer. I don't like. Me personally, I don't see them very practical because it's too difficult to remember, right? I mean, you want to enjoy the meal, so they say as the more lenient ones, they say you start eating fruit with the bread and you finish with the bread and you do whatever you want to do with the meal. That's okay. So, but you have to remember the finish with the bread. And the second opinion is more stringent. He said, no. Actually, each bite of the fruit has to be with the bread. So I mean, it's easier to say the blessing, right? So the bottom line, the solution is, so you make a blessing on a fruit separately, right? Because it's not the only course, as we said before, it's not the only course, and then continue eating, and then you eat bread whenever you want, but don't eat for the first time. Do not eat fruit with a bread. Bread with a fruit.
Okay. Does this also apply in regards to, let's say, other desserts like ice cream, or no? The first opinion.
See, ice cream. I don't think. I don't see how ice cream can be in like one of the courses. I understand if you said that the ice cream could be a main course or the only course. I would understand. So he has a few slices of bread and he has ice cream. Okay, I understand that. That's all he has. But here, I mean, between fish and soup, somebody would have ice cream, fruit salad, like for appetizers and stuff like that. I would understand. But fish and between fish and soup, no. But I don't think so. And unless some crazy kids, that's what they want.
So I can't follow the opinion that I have a few bites of bread with the ice cream, then I can have the middle without, or then have the rest with.
I mean, it's not. I don't see how is it practical. You see, fruits. People do eat fruits like one of the courses. It is true. So they do cantaloupe, all these things. I don't know. They explain it. It helps the digestion between this meat and that meat. all of these things, right? So it is common knowledge. So some people, they would follow that practice, but nobody nobody eats ice cream in the end of in the middle of the meal.
So I'll give you a practical example. I think that is now some people, they do it because let's say they have no candy next to them and they want to follow Reb Moshe, and so they don't want to make a shackle because Reb Moshe says it's like a liquid, and so I won't have to make a shackle on liquid because it's not counted as a separate suda. Okay. So in this case, but they still want to follow all opinions, though. You know, those who say shackle, those who don't say shackle. So what do? They might eat the whole thing with bread if they don't have candy. So I'm saying maybe they don't have to eat the whole thing with bread. Maybe they just have to eat the start with bread and the end with bread.
That's too much. I would say that if we go by the second opinion, eat every bite of ice cream with a really little bread, it's like a suffering, like you turn yourself to a monster. It's like crazy. That's too much. To eat in the beginning with the bread, end of the bread, I don't know. I mean, since if he has no other solution, there's no problem whatsoever to say blessing on the ice cream, right? And go by whoever by other poskim. You know, don't do this with the bread because people would forget to remember to start with the bread. Okay, maybe you remember to start with the bread, but finish with the bread. I don't think so. I don't know. I'm trying like when I have this is the right way, like it's my personal opinion, even though there are other solutions. I'm trying to follow the most straightforward approach, the easiest one to remember and the easiest one to follow. Understand? Sometimes when there's no problem, as you said, there is other piece of candy, piece of sugar, I don't know, like sugar cube, like something that you can say blessing on. There is no problem. But if there is none, so just go easy. You know? Okay. Okay, so next one is number 3. Fruit eaten for dessert entirely with bread. If fruit is eaten for dessert, here's our situation, right? Fruit eaten with for dessert, but one eats it entirely with bread. It is becomes Tofel to the bread and is exempt. For example, if one eats applesauce or sliced fruit with bread, the bracha on the bread exempts the applesauce or fruit. Unlike fruit, which is eaten for satiation, fruit which is eaten for dessert is not exempt unless it is eaten entirely with bread. Even if only one piece of the fruit was subsequently eaten without bread, the bracha is required. So I think no, it's not what you ask. It's a different situation. So basically, they say, okay, so now he finished his meal and he wants to eat this applesauce, right? I think applesauce is a good example. So and this applesauce, he wants to eat entirely with bread. So with every bite, with every spoon of applesauce, he would put a little piece of bread, right, into the spoon. So they say, okay, in this case, he does not need to say a blessing on applesauce because it's secondary to like subordinate, not secondary, it's subordinate to the bread. But how is it practical? I don't know. It's like you turn this meal into something like not realistic. People usually don't do that, right? So yeah.
Going back to what we said, that the place can say that we should make on fruit before, then have the Suda, then make, not have to make a bracha on the fruit, right? My question is in regards to Mazonis kind of in this manner, right? So basically what the place can advise is with Mazonis also do the same thing, right? To say the bracha before, follow all the opinions. Those who say you do say it, after the Suda. And
okay. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my question is like this. Is that allowed if I take something before, right? That's like noodles, right? That would be covered by the bracha made on bread, okay? And in order to have the dessert, or do I have to have something like dessert that wouldn't be covered by the bread? Because maybe it's a bracha levatala if I make it on noodles or something that are covered by the bread.
It's a good question. Let's leave it aside. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but it's a very good question. If I can make a bracha on noodles and before the bread meal, right, and have in mind so it would cover dessert. I would say no, but I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so let's leave it aside for now. Okay, so last paragraph that we said, unlike fruit which is eaten for satiation. So for satiation there is no problem. It's included in a blessing for bread. Fruit which is eaten as for dessert is not exempt unless it is eaten entirely with bread. Even if only one piece of the fruit is subsequently eaten without bread, the bracha is required. So basically, I mean, the straightforward way of doing things. So if it's a dessert, if it's end of the meal, and you have other foods, so just make a blessing of this fruit, and that's it. That's straightforward. Okay, continue. Number 4. Fruit prepared for the use in meal. Okay. Fruit cooked or made into a dish, which is commonly served at the meal as a meal type, does not require separate bracha. For example, fruit soup served as one of the courses of the meal is considered meal type food and is exempt. I'm not sure. I read in the books about this fruit soup. I never tried it. I have no idea what it is. However, the fruit which are cooked for the use of the dessert, for example, stewed plums or applesauce, require bracha even though they are cooked. Okay, so it's not about cooking or not cooking, right? As I say. So if it was cooked as a meal type food, as this fruit soup, that's one story. So it is covered. But here, just because this the fruit cooked, right, and he eats it at the dessert, does not change the status. Okay.
Rabbi, what's going to be the difference between a dessert and a normal, let's say, dish, making it into a dish? What's the difference?
Oh, well, what would be the example? Tell me.
Okay, so let's say I make a fruit plate, I put peanut butter on there, so on and so forth, right? Now, okay, if I give it there as an appetizer, okay, people understand the appetizer. It looks like a dish, right? I prepared it nice, okay, but it could also be a dessert very easily. So I'm saying, how do we know the difference between?
No, thank you for example, because I misunderstood what you meant. Okay, beautiful. So it's up to you. If you start eating before the meal, so it's appetizer. If after the meal, so it's a dessert. So I mean, you're right 100%. It's like neutral. Whatever you decide to eat, that's make it appetizer or dessert.
So understood. So as a general rule, then, if I eat fruit at the start of the meal, I don't make a bracha.
In the start of the meal, what do you mean? Before the meal?
Before the main course.
And before, no, forget about the main course. Before the HaMotzi?
After the HaMotzi.
No. If you did HaMotzi and you have salad and fish and other things, right? So that this fruit is not part of the main course.
Okay, so
you must make a separate blessing, or that's what you mean, or no?
So we'll go like this. This fruit dish that I just told you about. Okay, I made fruit very nice and fancy, so on and so forth, right?
Yes.
If I have it after the HaMotzi as the first dish, right?
Yes, yeah.
So I won't have to make a bracha according to what.
No. You have to make a bracha.
But how? So what's the difference between a dish and a dessert? Because I just gave you something that could be a dish.
No, it's not dish. They when they say dish, the example that they gave is of fruit soup. So soup is a soup. You can have, I don't know, vegetable soup, potato soup, or you can have, I don't know, tomato soup, or this soup, this fruit soup. So soup is different. No, the way I understand, nobody eats soup as a dessert, right? So that's part of the meal. Okay, it's a little different ingredients, not what we would expect, there is no, I don't know, potatoes and zucchinis in there, but only grapes and I don't know what else goes into this soup, right? But it's a main part of the main course. One of the courses. But this platter that you said, it's for sure it's not included unless they say if you eat it. So you take a piece of bread, you take a slice of apple, right, and then you put one on top of the other, and that's the only solution.
So I'll give you this example. Okay, so if I have cake, right, with your cake, basically make it the same way as kugel. We put it in the oven, so I don't make a bracha on kugel, right, because kugel is obviously a meal type food. So cake should also be a meal type food, so I don't have to make a bracha on cake.
What is the connection?
I'm saying just like soup, we said soup is made in the same way, and fruit soup, okay? So I'm saying over here with kugel, okay, kugel I put in the oven.
No. It's not. It's made. I mean, you cannot compare. Mizonos is mizonos. Mizonos is always like it's a dessert. So people eat it as snack or dessert, let's say, right? But soup, nobody like eats soup at the end of the meal. You finish your 7-course meal, you finish your cake, and now, guess what? You're going to eat soup. Nobody does that. You understand? Soup is one of the first courses that the people serve. So just because they were cooked in an oven does not make them the same. Okay, continue. Okay, second. Okay.
Oh wait, Rabbi, if I blend my fruit, I don't have to make a bracha on it, right? If there are no pieces.
I think you should.
It's what? It looks like it's like a drink, no? At that point.
So okay, so another puree, right? Puree.
Yeah.
So if it's puree, you still have to make a blessing. So what blessing you're going to make? It's a different story. So if you still, as you said, if you still see the pieces of whatever, what is it, and you know exactly what like I don't know, you see that it's apricot. You know exactly what it said, like texture and stuff like that. So you make a replica. But if you have no idea, it's blended so good, so you have no idea. So you say shechakol, but you still say the blessing.
See,
so it's not puree is not liquid. It's not.
See, so I had a problem like this. Let's say I take a potato, right? And then I'm a good sculptor. I make it look exactly like a cauliflower, okay? At this point, I can't tell if it looks like a cauliflower or if it looks like a potato. So do I make a shackle on it? It's definitely still a whole piece of potato.
For cauliflower and potato, you say you make the same blessing, no?
Sure, but let's say we make different blessings on it. Let's say bad example, but let's say one's a hadam and one's a hate.
Okay, so if he's not sure what is it, so he can make shechakol, yeah.
Oh no, but I'm saying the person. Okay, we'll go instead of a cauliflower, an apple. Okay, you know he cut an apple into a cauliflower. Okay, he took a piece, made it look like a cauliflower. So now we have hadam and ha'etz. The thing I'm saying is he knows which piece it is since he himself cut it, right? He knows this is an apple, this is a cauliflower.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm saying the pieces look identical. So I'm saying even though they look identical.
No, but if you know what is it, there is no problem. So you just go according to your knowledge.
So in that case, what if they're what's it called? If it's pureed and I don't see any bits, but I know which fruit it came out of, I should also make a bit. No.
Yes. Yeah. That's exactly what we said about mashed potato. Right? Mashed potato. Like if it's mashed very good, or you buy this instant potato from the powder, right? You put powder into the whatever into a vessel, and then you add hot water, right? Boiling water, and then you cover with a lid, and you have yourself mashed potato 3 minutes later. So even though there's no pieces whatsoever, but since it looks like mashed potato, and you can recognize very simply, you have the same texture, so you make hadama, even though it was reconstituted.
So with kugel, I should be doing the same thing, no?
What
making hadama.
So it depends. Let's leave kugel aside. It's the whole different story. So if there are a lot of what is it, flour, so you say mizonis.
Yeah.
So, but kugel is not such an easy thing. So let's leave it aside and try to eat it in a bread meal, unless you know exactly what goes into that. Okay, so continue. Number 5, appetizers. A, fruit eaten as a first course, for example, grapefruit. Okay. Many poskim rule that fruit eaten as an appetizer, there is to whet the appetite, is considered a meal type food, and is therefore exempt by birchas HaMotzi. So let's say F, right? Note F. Technically, to start the digestive juices flowing. Okay, that means the appetizer. Okay. Some poskim rule that the fruit or other non-meal type foods, even when eaten as appetizer, are not exempt. The mincha olam, generally accepted practice, is not to make bracha on the items which are definitely eaten as appetizers. Okay, so let's see note G. The poskim advise that if possible, one should make a bracha and eat less than the kizayis of a fruit before starting the meal, with intent to cover the fruit which will subsequently be eaten during the meal. Alternatively, one should make bracha on another fruit that is on which is not served as appetizer and have the intention to cover this appetizer. Okay, so let's try to understand what they're saying here. So they say if fruit is eaten as appetizer, meaning to start like that is, I don't know this, how they put it? The digestive juice is flowing, correct? So maybe the person have problem. So some people cannot eat, whatever they have problems eating. All right. So they need some kind of appetizer. So it's according to many poskim, they say it's considered meal type food and is therefore exempt by birchas HaMotzi. So I don't know, like for me it's a little too much. Why? But I don't know. So but basically since there is such opinion, so you can follow this opinion, right? On one hand, on the other hand, other poskim say no. So as usually we always trying to go the middle way, right? According to this opinion and that opinion. So and others say no, it's not covered. Even though it's appetizer, it's not covered by birchas HaMotzi. So that they say try to make a blessing on something else, basically, right? On some other fruit that is not appetizer, like I don't know, maybe tangerine or something, right? And keep in mind that it should include this grapefruit. Okay. Continue. Grapefruit, when served as a first course, is often eaten to whet the appetite, in which case bracha would not be required. Okay. Often fruits such as melon or a fruit cocktail is served as a first course and identified as appetizer. Some poskim reason that since the melon fruit cocktail and the like do not in actuality whet the appetite or start the juices flowing, but rather are eaten to satiating first courses, a bracha would be required. Okay, so that's what David asked us before, right? So if he just made a blessing on the fruit or on the bread, now he wants to eat this fruit cocktail, this melons and all these beautiful things. So of course you start eating for satiation 100% in this case. So make a blessing. Other poskim rule that the fruits such as melon or fruit cocktail, which is served as appetizers, are like any other appetizer exempt with birchas HaMotzi. Because of the uncertainty, eating the fruit without bracha would be questionable. It is therefore advisable follow recommendation of the poskim and make the bracha before washing the bread with intention to cover. Okay, that's what we said before. the fruit that be eaten during the meal. So let's read the commentary and explain. This recommendation I made in a different case in order to bypass several uncertainties. So they say, okay. So this melon and fruit cocktail is an appetizer. It's not appetizer. That's help with this digestive juices start flowing. Yes, no. Some say yes, some say no. So if yes, so it's appetizer, so it's included, or not, it's not included. So basically, they say in another solution, just start eating before blessing on the bread, and keep in mind that I want to continue during the meal, but just make sure that you eat less than kizayis, basically. They did not say that, but I mean, that's obvious. Eat less than kizayis, otherwise you would be required to say the end blessing, right? I mean, logically. So don't put yourself in try to fix one situation and put yourself in even the more difficult situation. So let's read the last, I'm on page 93 on the bottom. It is therefore advisable to follow the recommendation of the poskim and make bracha before washing for the bread. That's what we're talking about. With intention to cover the fruit that be eaten during the meal. So I think maybe it's more practical solution. The piece of fruit to be eaten before the meal should be smaller than kazayis. Oh, okay, no, this is smaller than kazayis. To avoid complications with regard to bracha achrona, right? Because if you ate more than kizayis, you would need bracha achrona. So if you try to do it during the meal, right, or I don't know, before the bread, so it's useless. So during the meal, it's useless again. I mean, all fruit that you're going to eat after that are not covered. Alternatively, if one has already made the birchas HaMotzi, he could take the fruit definitely not being used as an appetizer, right? For there is a fresh apple, and make bracha and have intention to cover appetizers as well. Okay, I think if that's. So basically, apple never covered, right? That's not appetizer. That's a totally like independent item, right? So they say, okay, take an apple, take a bite. I'm not sure what he's going to take. Do with this apple after he takes this bite. I'm not sure. You're going to throw out. I mean, I don't know. So, but it's also a solution. So what is the best solution? The best solution, I would say, don't eat these appetizers, right? Or eat them before the meal, and only a little, so it's less than kizayis. Okay, that's from this. That's what I derive. Okay, next one, B, whiskey used as an appetizer. According to many poskim, whiskey is considered an appetizer, and mincha ha'olam, general accepted practice, is not to make bracha on a whiskey consumed during the meal, since appetizers are exempt by birchas HaMotzi. Okay. Even if one drinks whiskey to toast Chaim during the meal, the accepted practice is not to make a new bracha. Okay. So let's read commentary and we explain. However, if one drinks whiskey after he was finished eating, since it is not being used as an appetizer, bracha is required. So I would say yes, it is true. Like whiskey is appetizers, but on the other hand, I think it's a liquid. It's in the category of liquid. So if you of course, it is liquid that is not needed for the food, right? I mean, it's not like a water or apple juice or whatever, some tea that you need to drink something like to help you to swallow food. That's a different story. Here you don't need this whiskey, so it's appetizer, or it's like I don't know what is it. Basically, if you make the blessing on the wine, it should cover the whiskey. Or do drink some, whatever you drink, some liquid, right? And I think that whiskey would be covered as well. I think, unless I don't know. Okay, continue. Number 6. Eaten as a Tofel to a meal type food. When dessert food is eaten as a Tofel, so I mean a subordinate, right? To a meal type food, for example, applesauce eaten to enhance potato latkes, it is exempt from the Brocha. So that's a good example, right? So it's a secondary, subordinate to whatever we eat. So it's exempt from the Brocha. The potato latkes are exempt since they are usually eaten as a part of the meal to satiate, right? The applesauce becomes subservient to the latkes, which in turn are covered by the Brocha on the bread. So, I mean, I think it's a classic example, right? When this applesauce is covered, even though it's the dessert type, but if you eat the applesauce by itself, for sure it's going to be recover separate blessing. But since you eat with the latkes and they covered by blessing the latkes covered by the blessing on the bread, so there is no problem. Similarly, in some recipes which contain fruits such as Polynesian chicken, consisting of pineapple and chicken. Okay, the fruit is a Tofel, and a separate Brocha is not required. So I mean, I don't know what did they do. Like looks like they cooked it together, chicken with pineapple. So then it is included. Okay, so let's see how much is much too much, but okay. So let's do one more time. Oh, one more. It's very interesting. That's what we asked before. Cake, pies, etc. Cakes serve dual function, like the fruit or candy. Cakes are often eaten as a dessert or snack in order to satiate one's desire for sweet. So that's clear. That's clear. Unlike fruits or candies, however, cakes are often eaten to satiate one's appetite, which is true. Accordingly, if cake is eaten for a dessert, technically Bracha should be required. Alternatively, when a cake is eaten for satiation, a Bracha is not required. Okay. There is, however, another consideration which mitigates against making Bracha on the cakes eaten during the meal. This consideration is that if particular type of a cake could halachically classified as bread, it would not require the separate Bracha, even if it's eaten as a dessert. Okay. In order to understand, let's try. Let's stop here and try to understand. So now we got to our favorite topic, which is cakes and pies, right? So the question again, whether or not we will make a blessing when we eat these cakes and not a dessert as a part of the meal. So one more time, same as fruit. If it's that's all you have one piece of bread, 2 pieces of bread, and you have cake and you have whatever else you have, and that's you need this cake for satiation. For sure, it's part of your meal and it's covered by bread. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about here when he eats a dessert, they say, okay, technically you would require bracha because you eat as for a sweet taste, not because you're still hungry. That's the second case. So now we're talking about the third case when this one. Alternative, when a cake is eaten for satiation, bracha is not required. Okay, we said that no, this is not the case. I apologize. There is, however, another consideration which mitigates against making a bracha on the cakes eaten during the meal. Okay, that's the case. This consideration is that if a particular type of cake could be halachically classed as a bread, right? A bread type cakes, right? It would not require a separate bracha, even if it's eaten as a dessert. So let's see. So if this bread if this cake could classify it as a bread, so you would need to make a separate bracha. What are we talking about? In order to understand this halacha, it is necessary to understand the halachically what halachically constitutes as a bread. This is explained in addendum number 2. Okay. Okay, so for now we're going to continue. We're not going to go at addendum number 2 because I think it's a long story. Even if a product definitely not classed as a bread, if it is being eaten to satiate, the bracha is not required. For example, apple pie is, according to all views, not classed as a bread. However, often people are partially hungry at the conclusion of their meal and eat pie as for additional satiation as well. As for satiation as well as for their dessert quality. In which case it would not require bracha. So if you, as we said, if you're still hungry and you want to eat not for the sweet taste, but because you're still hungry, well, it's not satiated, so you don't make a blessing, even though it's not bread type food for sure. Okay, so not bread type food. So it's a mizonis. So mizonis is something that Mishnah Berurah said. Shulchan said something that have pockets, right? So like something with a filling, or something like flat and dry. So like crackers, right? Or it was I don't know, boiled, and not boiled, like for example, fried with a lot of oil. It's also mizonis, but it's not bread. The Poskim advise that since in many cases making bracha for cake eaten during the meal is questionable, one should have specific intent when making HaMotzi to exempt any cake he might subsequently eat during the meal. Okay, that's we can stop here, but I think that's one of the solutions that some and the reason that people use when they don't make a blessing on a cake, but they have to, as it says here, have specific intention not to that when making blessing on HaMotzi, that also include all of the cakes that they subsequently eat. But I think cakes only a bread type. That's what I think. I mean, it does not say it here, but okay. So if he did not have intention, so it's not included. So many people do not have any intention, period. So how this mizonis is included, I don't know. Okay, we stop here. Any questions?
Yes. For lechem mishnah, do you need challah specifically, or just 2 whole pieces of bread? Meaning 2 whole, like, let's say I have 2 loaves of bread. Yeah, 2 loaves. So two what is it? Rolls. Well, whatever you have. Two pitas, 2 matzahs, whatever you have. Mm-hmm. But preferably the most proper way to do that is what is it? Is a whole, when it's whole completely. So if it's in many cases, if you have whole matzah at home, so you can use it the second one. So you can do lechem misha on 2, and then cut on a piece of bread, and then next meal you have again 2, and use like with matzah. Actually, I apologize. Take it back. So even if you have 3 rolls, there's still no problem. The third meal you do with matzah basically, because on the third meal you also need 2 rolls, 2 breads. Mm-hmm. What's it called? So with the refrigerator, I don't have to worry about all the electronics. I just have to worry about the light. Yes. Yeah. Okay. I mean, but what about electronics? It's something changes when you open I don't know. I don't know if something changes if you open it, so that's why I ask if it matters in the first place.
I mean, if for example, I'm just speculation. I maybe yes, maybe no. So if you open the door of refrigerator and it has like there is some fancy refrigerator. We were in a store helping somebody to pick a refrigerator. One was like $8,000. I don't know, and so it has like a big screen. I don't know what is on this screen, but I mean, if it's only news, I understand. Weather, I understand. But it might be also like to tell you that your door is open, like in a car, right? In a car, you have the sign the door is open. Maybe it also has. I have no idea. So if it has all of the signs, that's the problem. But check this refrigerator. Maybe it has Shabbos mode. If it's not very old.
So let's say I just have a mini refrigerator with no light.
Well, that's no problem also.
Okay, got it.
That's not the problem also.
Do I have to go through my Shabbos food and see if all the tapes and all the packaging is what's it called, ripped already, not to rip it on Shabbos?
Yes, it's proper to do that. Yes.
Okay.
Just cut it open. That's it. So I mean, you don't have to remove the lid, but tapes, yes, cut it.
Okay.
What else? That's it. Israel, you want to?
Well,
Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
One thing is what's it called for dips, for example, right? You know how they have that you take off the lid, then they have the seal, right? The plastic seal.
Yeah.
Allowed to take that off on Shabbos?
You're allowed to take it off on Shabbos, but if you can cut like around or take it before Shabbos, would be the most preferable way. Yes.
And what should one do if one has soda cans? He wants to use them on Shabbos, but he doesn't want to keep them open in the refrigerator and wait for them for Shabbos.
But what's wrong if you open before Shabbos? What is going to happen?
I don't know. I just don't want. I don't want it that way. Let's say I'm superstitious for whatever reason.
So you don't want to open the cup on before Shabbos? You want to open on Shabbos? That's what you're saying.
Or maybe there's yeah, sure. Can I just poke a hole into it, or that's also
yes. Yeah. But that's I mean I would say with apple juice there is no problem, but with with the soda it could be I don't know it could be like start spilling with like all of the gas coming all out and
yeah.
So try. I mean I would say try before Shabbos. Try to do it this way with one bottle. I mean you can spill on yourself. I don't know where is going to go. So it could end with disaster.
Understood. Okay.
So that's what I always do. Test before Shabbos. Okay. All right. No problem. So thank you very much. Good Shabbos and until Sunday night, same time, Beezrat Hashem. Thank you.